Hey kids, it's Mrs. Fawcett, and I'm going to read you a spring story. In fact, the story I'm going to read to you, the picture that you're looking at, is the front cover of that story. Okay, you and I both know that when we look at the book, the first thing we need to do is turn our brains on and make sure that we're being thinkers. And when I look at this book, the very first thing that I notice is that the title is all in lowercase letters. Did you notice that too? I wonder why the author wrote the title in all lowercase letters. I know in the past when I've read stories and the words in the stories are all uppercase, it usually means that the author wants to emphasize those or they want me to read them loudly, or there's a lot of excitement or anger behind those words when they're all uppercase. But I wonder what it means when they're all lowercase. Does that mean it's quiet? Is this a quiet book? Is spring creeping up on us? I don't know, but that's going to give us something to think about while we read. The author's name is listed on the front cover of this book, too. Her name is Julie Fagliano. Remember, the author is the person who wrote the words. In fact, it says written by Julie Fagliano. The illustrator's name is on here as well. Her name is Erin E. Steed. The fact that there's an illustrator sort of clues me in to whether or not this book is fiction or nonfiction. What do you think? Do you think this book is going to be fiction or nonfiction? Yeah, I think it's going to be fiction too. In fact, it's probably going to be realistic fiction. Do you remember what realistic fiction is? Think about it for a minute. Yeah, realistic fiction is a story that could happen. And in our classroom, we usually say, but it hasn't happened yet. But really, it never has to happen. It comes from the author's imagination. But all of the things the author imagines are things that really could happen. They just haven't happened. So I think it's probably realistic fiction because when I look at the picture, I see a boy and a dog. And the boy is pulling a wagon. And there's plants, and I think all of those things can happen. So I'm betting this is realistic fiction. All right, let's turn the page and begin reading. And then it's spring. And then it's spring. First you have brown. All around you have brown. Why is it brown? I'm looking at that picture. I noticed that the boy has on mittens, and he has a scarf, and he has a hat. And if you look at the house way back up on the hill, I see lots of smoke coming out of the chimney. Do you think it's spring yet? No, I don't think it's spring yet. It's really brown, and the little boy is dressed for cold. I think it's still winter in this picture. I think that's why there's still brown. Then there are seeds. Did you notice that the boy doesn't have on quite as many clothes as he did before? His scarf is gone and his mittens are gone. He's planting seeds. Must be getting a little bit warmer. And a wish for rain. And then it rains. And is that a little green? If it is green, it must be really little. Did you notice he has a magnifying glass in his hand? I don't see any green. No, it's just brown, sort of brown. Did you notice how the dog's looking at the boy? It looks like he's saying, "Sorry, friend." Then it is a week. And you worry about those little seeds. Why do you think the little boy is worried about those seeds? Do you think that he thinks they should have shown some green by now? Remember how the author said, and then it is a week. I think the boy might be feeling a little bit impatient and wondering why he hasn't seen any green yet. We know that plants don't grow overnight, don't we? And if maybe it was the birds. Or maybe it was the bears and all that stomping, because bears can't read signs that say things like, "Please do not stomp here. There are seeds and they are trying." What are the seeds trying? Oh, they're trying to grow. Do seeds grow overnight? They don't, do they? He's going to have to be a little patient. He's going to have to wait, and that is really hard to do. I think that at first he thought the birds or the bears maybe had gotten rid of his seeds, but we know that's not true, right? Because we know that seeds, it takes time, and that's all you can give them is time. Time and water. And then it is one more week. And the brown, still brown, has a greenish hum that you can only hear if you put your ear to the ground and close your eyes. Look how busy it is under the ground. I like the way the illustrator drew that picture so that we could see that even though we can't see anything on top of the ground, there's a lot of stuff happening underneath. Look at where the seeds are. Do you see where the roots are beginning to grow down? Even though there's no sign above the ground and the little boy is really looking for a sign, there are things happening that he can't see. I think that's what the author means when she says there's a greenish hum that you can only hear if you put your ear to the ground and close your eyes. I think the little boy is imagining what's happening below the ground. And then it is one more week. Oh, but look, he's getting ready. Why do you think he's putting up the swing? Did you know that tire was a swing? It's a tire swing. That seems like a sign of spring. And a sunny day, that happens right after that rainy day. Oh, we've had lots of rainy days, haven't we? Look at the puddles on the ground. Still kind of brown though, isn't it? And you walk outside to check on all that brown. But the brown isn't around. And now you have green. All around you have green. Did you notice that the seeds have started to grow? Look at all the birds on the tree. Do you remember how the author made the title of this story, "And Then It's Spring," all in lowercase letters? I really think what I thought at first might be right. I really think that she wanted us to think that spring came quietly, almost without the little boy noticing. One day he walked outside and the brown wasn't there anymore, and I think that spring kind of crept up on him. I like that story, and I'm glad it's spring. Now that we've finished our story, you should go to your packet and find the paper that has this on both of these on one side. One side would be the front and one side would be the back. And I really don't care what order you do them in. On the one that says spring across the top, you may draw a picture or use words where it says spring makes me feel. Draw what you like to do in spring. Of course, in that one you're going to draw because it tells you to draw. And then underneath draw what you like to do in spring, it says what's your favorite spring activity. And in spring I see. And think about what you see in the spring and write that down. The other side says signs of spring. I'd like for you to go outside if it's not raining and look for the signs of spring that you see. Write them in the spaces below. You might see kids outside playing. You might hear birds singing. You might see people in shorts. In fact, people outside is a sign of spring because when it's cold and wintry, lots of people don't go outside, do they? So go outside and see what signs of spring you can find and have fun. And I'll see you on Monday.